Hey guys, Fit Future MD here. Welcome to the channel. So you decided you wanted to be a bodybuilder. What in the world were you thinking? Anyway, so I'm here to tell you on how to be a bodybuilder. So step one, you got to educate yourself. Okay? You need to know how to eat, you need to know how to train, and you got to make a plan. But I'm here to give you my 2 cents on how I think you should go about trying to become a bodybuilder. I hope it helps you. You know, from what I say, leave comments down in the comment section below. Tell me if I'm nuts or tell me if I'm dead on, spot on. You know. So after education, I think you'll realize that to be a bodybuilder, you're going to have to go on a 5-year epic bulk or epic off season, whatever you want to call it, where you gain a pound to 1 pound a week for 5 years. And I'm going to talk about how you can go about doing that. A lot of people will train and they will want to compete. They'll gain 20 or 30 pounds and then they'll lean it out to try to go compete. And this will put them back 10 years, from being a bodybuilder. A bodybuilder has to build their body first. So if you're starting out, say you're 5'9", 5'10", you're 180 pounds, you need to go on a 5-year bulk. 5 year, 3 to 5, at least 3 years. At least 3 years. You need to be looking to be, professional bodybuilders are 300 pounds plus. Some are 310, some are 340, some are 350 off season. When they're not dieted down for a show. You need to be that big before you diet down for your first show. Another thing you have to think about is what job are you going to do that's going to allow you to become a bodybuilder. Okay? Now, the jobs that I suggest is either a firefighter or a police officer, because these jobs, number one, you got health insurance. So you can go to the doctor, you can get your labs, you can make sure you're still healthy. And number two, they actually have work time where you actually go work out. So first thing to be a professional at something is to be paid to do it. So if you're paid to work out, you're already a professional, especially in your mind. So I would be either a firefighter or a police officer to start out your bodybuilding journey with. Hey, if you already have a way to make money, that's awesome. If you started your own company, your own e-commerce company, you own real estate, whatever it is, that can allow you to make enough money to be a bodybuilder, that's awesome. Keep doing that. Pro bodybuilders are 300 pounds and 260 pounds when they diet down for a show. So your first goal as a professional as a person that wants to be a professional bodybuilder is to bulk up to be that big. So at a minimum, you're going to be consuming 300 grams of protein, 600 grams of carbs, and 200 grams of fat every day for 5 years. If you break that down to 6 meals, I think that's 50 grams of protein, 100 grams of carbs, and like 34 grams of fat every meal for 6 meals a day for 5 years. Now you got to keep in mind that that's just the minimum diet. That's only 4,200 calories. So when you're 180 pounds, 4,200 calories, you're going to be gaining weight. But when you get up to 250 and 260, you might have to double that to gain weight. It's very difficult to eat that amount of food. Even for a guy like me who loves to eat, can always eat, never feels full, it's still difficult to eat that level of calorie that a bodybuilder eats. Eggs, you can get 60 eggs for $4 at Walmart, at Costco, at what's the other one? Anyway, any of those big grocery chains like that, you can get 60 eggs for $4. So eggs is a great source of protein. It's why I eat so many eggs. I eat between 6 and 10 eggs every day. Not whole eggs necessarily. They can be egg whites. They can be just the yolk. They can be combined. So for instance, for my breakfast, I eat 6 egg whites and 2 whole eggs on most days. That way I get the cholesterol that you need to produce testosterone naturally. And you also get that extra boost of protein that's a cheaper source of protein, but still just the same quality. Because if you buy that much protein in a steak, that might be $5 just for that one meal, not 50 cents. You see what I'm saying? So you have to think a lot, and you can also use eggs as a protein shake. So if you can't eat your calories or don't have time to cook, you can easily down eggs, down oatmeal, and get your calories in, especially if you're going to class or you have a 9-to-5 job or 7-to-4. I have a 7-to-4 job. So, the egg sources, the protein sources, the carb sources are all important when it comes to being a bodybuilder. Okay, so now we're going to talk about training to be a bodybuilder. Okay? Now, me personally, I prefer what they call a bro split, or where you go to the gym every day for 365 days a year. Now, why do I prefer that? Number one, I'm natural. Okay? So my body needs time for that individual muscle group to recover. So, for example, Monday I train quads. Tuesday I would train biceps. Wednesday I would train back. Thursday I would train chest. Friday I would train triceps. Saturday I would train hamstrings. Well, really Friday you train hamstrings. Saturday you train triceps. Sunday you would train traps, forearms, abs, calves, whatever else was left for that week. And the reason I do it that way is because each muscle group, when you train naturally, needs the proper amount of time to recover. And when you train them individually, you can annihilate them a lot more than if you were training 2 muscle groups or one muscle group. When you train 2 muscle groups, one muscle group's always going to get left out or have a decreased workout or whatever you want to call it. So, but some people can't work out that way. Some people want to, like Jay Cutler had a 4-day split. Ronnie Coleman had a 6-day split. I think Dorian Yates had a 4-day split. Some people do a 5-day split. So it really will depend on your body. And another thing is it's psychological, because when you're paying for a gym membership, I want to get my money's worth. I'm going there every day and getting my money's worth. Even if I just go, say you're tired, you may just go in there just to tan. You got to use your, mentally you got to use, you're paying for the gym membership, so you got to use it, so that's how I do it. I try to go 7 days a week, and, if my gym's closed, I'm doing something physical activity related, that would allow me to improve as a bodybuilder. So there are many different strategies when training as a bodybuilder. Okay. One strategy is to go in the gym and get on a machine that immediately pumps the muscle that you want to train. So if you were training chest, you go to the pec deck and do the pec deck until your muscle was pumped, full pumped. On the other hand, there's people that say you should lift heavy with compound movements at the beginning of your workout. And then there's another one that says you should do all the accessory work or pre-exhaust the muscle and then go do your compound movements. I do a mixture. Some muscle groups I will do the compound movement first. Some muscle groups I will pre-exhaust first. So for legs, especially quads, I will pre-exhaust my quads before I go and squat or leg press. And I do this because I don't want to have to put 500 or 600 pounds on my back every time I squat. You know, I want to have the same level of pump or pain in my quadriceps and my butt as if I was putting 700 pounds on my back, but not actually have to put 700 pounds on my back. You know, so when you see these videos of me doing 4 or 5 for 2, I've already pre-exhausted my quads. You know, so, and you can see the difference, you know, big time when you pre-exhaust your quads. So all those strategies work. You know, they will all make you grow. So try them out for each muscle group. You know, so when you go in for chest, do your bench press first or your incline bench press first, and then do your accessory movements. And then the next week you can come in and do the pec deck and get the full pump, and then do your compound movements. But your compound movements definitely you want them to be there. You know, some people will skip the compound movements completely and just do all the machines that pump that one muscle. And you know what? That works. But at the end of the day, you know, doing different things is going to make that muscle look a certain way. And the way you want it to look is hard and vascular, with balance and proportion and symmetry. You know, and just pumping it with machines is not going to make it look hard like a Dorian Yates hard or a Ronnie Coleman hard. You know, whereas Jay didn't have that hard look that Dorian and Ronnie had, but he was still an amazing bodybuilder. So you just have to choose what your training style is going to be. You know, you may be like me and do a mixture of it, you know, or one week you come in and do this and the next week you come in and do something different. And, you know, there's the technique to that, you know, always keeping your body guessing what you're going to do, you know, as a bodybuilder. So keep that in mind when you're training, guys. Now we're going to talk about what you do with weak body parts, okay? If you have a weak body part, so say I got a huge chest, shoulders, and back, but my biceps and triceps are tiny. So when I do bis and tris, I'm going out to eat. I'm going to get a crap ton of extra calories to make those muscles grow. You know, and we're all going to have lagging body parts. And, you know, sometimes a body part may be lagging because you're not eating as much as you're eating on another day. So for me, where I live, most of the food deals are on Wednesday and on Sunday. So the body parts that I want to grow, so Wednesday I do back, so I want my back to grow. And on Sundays, we do triceps or shoulders. So clearly those 3 body parts I feel like need to grow. Those are going to be my cheat days. So think about that. If you have a lagging body part, think about what you're eating on that day. Think about what day you train it on. That way you can adjust to a lagging body part. So now I'm going to talk about training naturally versus training enhanced. Okay. When you're first starting out in bodybuilding, it is my belief that for 3 to 5 years, you should be training naturally. Minimum. I believe that you can be an IFBB pro naturally. You have to have the discipline to eat your 6 to 8 meals a day. You have to have the drive and determination to go to the gym every day. You split it up like I'm telling you to split it up, 7 days a week, 6 days a week, where you get the full recovery of the muscle. And in 5 years, you can be bigger than a professional bodybuilder. Okay? And you can work on your lagging body parts and be there. So if you're 18 years old, by 23 years old, you can be the equivalent of a professional bodybuilder naturally. It's all about food and nutrition, and it's all about dedication and consistency going to the gym. Now, if you get to 3 years and you are just not satisfied with your results after 3 years of bulking, or you've gained a half a pound to a pound of body weight every week for 3 years, then it will be your decision whether you want to start using enhancements such as steroids, HGH, growth hormone, or whatever crazy drugs these people are on. But know that when you do that, it is going to shorten your career. So the question you have to really think about is, do you want to be Dexter Jackson, where you can still be a bodybuilder at almost 50 years old, or do you want to be somebody like Lee Haney, who retired at 32? Drugs will, not saying that Lee Haney wasn't natural, because I think you can reach Lee Haney's level naturally. But, or even better example, do you want to be Mike O'Hearn, where you're 50 years old and people are like, wow, I can't believe you look this way? There's no way you're not taking something, because you can do that naturally. Stay on your diet and get there naturally. You can do it. And the biggest thing is that when you stop taking the gear, you're going to go right back to where you were at. So you're not going to keep those gains. Whereas when you do it naturally, you can keep those gains. So keep that in mind, guys. If you're going to be a bodybuilder, clearly you can get there faster, but you can also lose it faster. So my advice would be to train naturally for 5 years. And I bet that if you stick to the diet, stick to the training for 5 years, you will look the way you want to look. And you will be an IFBB pro after training for 5 years, eating 6 to 8 meals a day, and then dieting for 20 weeks for your first show. So now, guys, I'm going to talk about training and cardio. So as a bodybuilder, you're eating so much food that you want to be doing cardio all year round. At least 15 to 20 minutes of cardio all year round, steady state cardio. And I'll put it to you this way. When you have a sore muscle, you have to get more blood flow to that muscle to get rid of the lactic acid in your body so that you can recover and that you can train again. So that is really the purpose of doing steady state cardio when you're bulking. And even when you're not bulking, but when you're bulking, you want to at least do 15 to 20 minutes of steady state cardio as soon as you wake up in the morning. You know, doing it when you wake up in the morning gets it out of the way. It doesn't necessarily cause you to lose body fat, you know, because if you're eating correctly, your body should still be digesting the food that you ate from the night before. So just because you've gone 5 or 6 hours without eating doesn't mean that your body's still not digesting the food from the day before. So, but I would do it in the morning, fasted, 15 to 20 minutes, and then right after I would eat breakfast, you know, if it were me. Another thing as far as training, so I'll go through and talk about each muscle group. So for chest, your compound movement is either going to be bench press or incline bench press, and then you would go off into your accessory movements. So let's talk about back. My compound movement for back is deadlift, but I also do bent over rows, and I also do lat pull downs. They're all compound movements. You can do lat pull downs and pull ups in a way that only works your lats and doesn't work as much as of your bicep and other aspects of your arm. So yeah, those are the 3 movements for back. Shoulders, you have shoulder press as your compound movement. A lot of bodybuilders don't even do shoulder press because they do so much on chest day for their front delt that they don't really do that. So if you are one of those people, you can do front raises or side laterals as your, it's not really, it is a compound movement, but it's not at the same time. So for legs, the clear compound movement is squatting, but you can, leg press is also a compound movement. If you have back issues, you don't even have to squat to have great legs, but it does help, and it is more impressive to squat more weight than to deadlift more weight, or not deadlift. It is more impressive to squat more weight than to leg press more weight. So that's training, guys. You want to do your compound movements. I prefer to do the compound movements. You can also do it where you pump the muscle and then do your compound movements, or pre-exhaust, whatever you want to call it. It's up to you. You also can do cardio right after you train. I personally don't suggest this because if you've eaten properly to train, then you're basically just burning off what you ate. So, and it's not the appropriate time where you actually have a lactic acid buildup that you need to get rid of. Your lactic acid is not going to build up at that time, and it's not really going to oxygenate your muscle enough to cause it to not be sore if you do it right after. But people have done it right after for years and they look great. So, if that's the only time you can do it, it's better than not doing it at all. So that's training, guys. All right, now I'm going to talk about recovery time and recovery days. So a lot of people in society don't believe in chiropractic care. They don't believe in massages. But I 100% believe that if you're joints and spine are aligned, and your muscles and the scar tissue in your muscles has been broken up, you're going to feel a lot better and be able to train a lot better. So when you're first starting out in bodybuilding, you may not have the money to go to chiropractor or go to get massages and stuff like that. Hopefully you have a wonderful partner in life that will massage you and you massage them. You know, that's what I have most of the time for my massages. You can also buy electric massagers that will break up that scar tissue for you. They work great. And you want to make sure that you stay flexible on your off days, stretch really well on your off days. You know, you can also stretch in between sets, which is primarily what I do, to make sure that that muscle is stretching and the fascia is stretching the way you want it to. So that's what I have to say about recovery and off days. Make sure you get it in. Okay? Now, in closing, I'll leave you with this thought. You know, you're going to have 5 years to bulk. Okay? And then basically from there, you're going to be maintaining while you are a professional. You know, so then you would figure out your calorie expenditure based on where you're at, you know, and what you can train that day and stuff like that. And that may be when you adjust to a 4-day-a-week schedule so that you can travel and go to booths and go to events and stuff like that. You know, you may adjust what time you work out, when you get your meals, the meal service you get. But the key to bodybuilding is consistency. Okay, you're going to consistently hit 6 to 8 meals. You're going to consistently go to the gym. You're going to train. You're going to consistently get recovery meals, or not recovery meals, recovery things done, chiropractic care, massage. You know, and if you do that for 5 years and then cut down for a show, you will be a professional bodybuilder. You know, but it's 24 hours a week, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days for a minimum of 3 to 5 years before you choose to do a show. If you do a show in between, you will set yourself back 5 years. So when you're 18, you'll be 28 before you turn pro, and you don't want to be 28 when you turn pro. So to be a bodybuilder, be consistent, set a plan, and stick to the plan 3 to 5 years. Okay? Now, I'm going to talk about what it takes to actually make money as a bodybuilder. Okay? So, number one, you have to grow your social media. Okay? So that means posting pics every day, talking about subjects every day, just being consistent with that. It's just like everything else. You be consistent. So you make a post every day. You talk about something. Talk about what's going on in the bodybuilding world. You know, so Phil Heath lost the Olympia this year. You know, how did that make you feel? Do you feel like he was deserving of the win? You know, was Sean Roden better that day? You know, you decide. Tell me down in the comments below what you think about that. I'll give my opinion later, of course. But, you know, that will grow your social media. And when you grow your social media, more companies are going to come look at you. And then hopefully soon, you know, you'll be able to just bodybuild and get your goal. Because if your goal is to be a bodybuilder, you can do it. It's going to take 3 to 5 years. But you can do it. And you can do it naturally. You can do it safely. And you can do it for a very, very long time. If you love it, you will do it, you will enjoy it, and you will be successful at it. I'm the Fit Future MD. I hope you got a lot out of this video. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, comment down below and tell me if I'm nuts. You know, tell me whether you think this will work or will not work. You know, I'm 6'2", I'm 290. So I know how to be big. You know, I got big arms too, 20-inch arms. So tell me what you think. I'm off to the gym.